Well, United Airlines is in trouble again after a family from Texas says their dog died while in the cargo hold of a plane that was delayed for 2 hours. The dog is named Lulu.
Oh.
Yeah, Lulu was a 5-year-old Cavalier King Charles Spaniel and was cleared by a veterinarian to fly days before Lulu was boarded on the plane. And the family doesn't know what's going on so far. United has responded with a statement. We are so sorry to learn of Lulu's passing and have reached out to our customer to offer our condolences and assistance. We are deeply upset anytime an animal suffers an injury, this injury being death, while traveling with us, and especially grieved in the rare instance where one passes away. We are conducting a thorough review of this incident. Interestingly, since 2012, 1/3 of all animal deaths on US carriers occurred on United Airlines. I looked it up. There were 136 animal deaths on US planes during that time. 53 were attributed to United Airlines.
That's insane.
Wow. They say on the rare occurrence. Now, that is rare given the number of flights there is, but apparently a little less rare if it's on United. So look, there are different airlines that have different issues for different reasons. So for example, there's a great book about why Korean Airlines crashed more in the past, not today. And it turned out that the co-pilots, because of cultural reasons, were too polite. So even if they were about to run into a mountain, they would not tell the pilot, hey, watch out, we're about to die. They thought it was too rude, and so they would crash in the mountain and everyone would die.
What?
Which seems a little ruder.
No.
Okay, so that's a real story, it's amazing. Now again, that didn't happen that frequently, but it happened more frequently on Korean Air in the past. They've now corrected for it. So there's some chance that United is doing something a little wrong. Right. In this particular case, they say, well, the air conditioning had gone out in the main cabin. Imagine what it was like for the dog.
Jeez.
In the cargo hold.
In the cargo hold. So that's very likely what happened, but they'll have to investigate, find out for sure.
What I never understand is, first of all, why do they board people on the plane when they know, or before they've checked to make sure that we're not gonna be stuck on a tarmac for a couple hours before the flight happens? Or why don't you make sure that when we land, we're not gonna have to stay on the tarmac for several hours? Because I feel like it's a common thing. There's been multiple times where you're stuck on the tarmac for several hours, in addition to the amount of time you're stuck on the plane, and miraculously, the air conditioning always malfunctions when you're stuck on the tarmac.
Yes.
So there was a story that we didn't get to a couple weeks ago where people were literally stuck on the plane on the tarmac for over 5 hours, and people started throwing up because the air conditioning wasn't working. They weren't giving out food. The only thing that they would give out was water, and it's just ridiculous. One person actually called 911. They called 911, an ambulance showed up, but they said, we can't take you off the plane. I don't get why it's so difficult to get the people off the plane, especially if you have several individuals throwing up. So I don't know, it's this weird, airline policy that I've never understood. I'm sure there might be a good reason for it, but it's not a good idea.
Yeah, look, I feel bad for pet owners. Look, I have a pet too, but putting it on a plane is a little bit dangerous, right? It's because look, we don't know why they have all the issues that they do. And I have, of course, had a somewhat infamous fight with American Airlines, and where I thought they were acting irrationally. And by the way, I was proven right, because it turns out they did have a plane and we're choosing not to bring it. So sometimes they're in a difficult spot and there's nothing they could do. And sometimes there is something they could do, they just don't want to do it. But if your pet is in the cargo hold, and then it becomes a little bit more a matter of urgency for you that, hey, we got to fix this thing, otherwise Lulu's gonna die.
Well, I looked into it too. A lot of people online or organizations online seem to have an issue with placing animals in the cargo hold to begin with, because they are living creatures, and there are different conditions down there. According to PETA, 300 animals have died in cargo holds in US planes since 2005, which I mean, it goes back to what you were saying of why this needless regulation? Why does this defy common sense even? Why are we going this route? What is the purpose? Does this help people?
So look, I'm not saying that it's an easy issue, because I don't want your pit bull sitting next to me. We're stuck on a plane. If we get stuck for 5 hours without air conditioning on a tarmac and your pit bull's breathing down my neck, I'm not that in favor of it. I'm gonna keep it real on that. On the other hand, if he's in the cargo hold, he's almost certainly going to die without that air conditioning for 5 days. And I don't want your dog to die. Right. So we don't have a great answer here.
Politeness and what is right for health and being alive.
Yes,
yeah.
And so
it's a balance, and I get it. You know, being a dog owner, I love dogs, so it's sometimes I don't consider how other people feel about dogs because in my eyes, it's like, yeah, just let the dog on the plane. What's the big deal? You know, why does the dog have to be in the cargo hold? But you're right. I mean, some people might be allergic to pet dander, and it might be a health concern. So it's a delicate balancing act, but I think it's important for these airline companies to understand, like, there are living creatures in the cargo hold, you know, take the proper precautions to make sure that, you know, there are safeguards in place.
So we'll end on my favorite story about dogs on a plane. Mark Halperin, who's kind of an establishment writer, once tweeted there was a dog next to him in first class. It was such a cute dog, but he was like, how dare they basically allow this dog in first class? And everybody was like, you're right, that poor dog had to suffer with you sitting next to him. And he got so much hate on Twitter for it, which was well deserved. I think the dog had a bow tie.
It's a classy dog.
I saw this story about a cat being an honorary librarian at a library, and this one person was mad about the cat being there, and they got the cat removed, and the cat got reinstated, and everyone hated that person.
Yeah.
People like animals.
Support independent media. Come join us at the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.